Hey, it's attorney Sylvania Barrows here. Come on in the room. I have a very interesting talk for you, and this is like straight off the cuff. So let me start off by introducing myself. My name is attorney Sylvania Barrows. I am the owner and founder of the S.L. Barrows Law Firm here in Chicago, where we represent 6- and 7-figure entrepreneurs and athletes in business, and also individuals who are impacted in employment issues based on some form of discrimination. I'm also dubbed the protector of athletes. So if you are interested in sports and you want a place where you can find information, you can go to www.prosportlawyer.com. So today's topic is right of use. So I just finished up an interview with a young man who wanted to interview me with regards to name, image, and likeness. So if you are an individual who is closely connected to sports or interested in sports and just love everything sports, that conversation centered around what student athletes can do now to prepare themselves for the wave of name, image, and likeness, which we call NIL. So I wanted to talk to you guys about right of use or the publicity statute, because I don't think people really understand how integral it is and the relevance that it has now on people's businesses and their property. So let me just say this. So right of publicity statute. So the title of this talk is Public Right of Use. Some people know it interchangeably, but public right of use is the same as right of publicity statute, depending on the state that you're in. What is that? What is the right of publicity statute? So here in Illinois, we have a statute, which is the right of publicity. And I think there's probably about 25 other states who have similar statutes. Basically, what this statute does is protect your intellectual property even after death. And so basically the same way, if you passed on and you left personal property to your heirs, the same thing would happen with your intellectual property based on the right of publicity statute. Okay, so your intellectual property will move on to your decedents, your heirs at law. Now, why is this statute important? And how does it even relate to name, image, and likeness? So it's important because you create intellectual property in your business on a regular basis. You're probably creating intellectual property right now and don't even know that you're doing that. Okay, so let me just give you an example, because here in Illinois, I'm going to read the actual statute, like this provision to you. It's important. So recognition of a right of publicity. So this is the right to control and to choose whether and how to use an individual's identity for commercial purposes is recognized as each individual's right of publicity. Come on now. How to use an individual's identity for commercial purposes is recognized as each individual's right of publicity. All right. That's your intellectual property. So how I look, if someone wanted to take my image and put it on a billboard, and that billboard generated income, that's commercial purpose, and they're using my image, all right? They're using my image for commercial gain. So they can't do that because I have the individual right of publicity for my own image, for my own name. How is this now related to name, image, and likeness in the sports context? Think about it. So for years, athletes' names, their images have been used in so many different types of medium. Every time your child picks up a PlayStation and plays a game, or they pick up Madden and they play a game, they're seeing these athletes being portrayed in these games, and that is their right of publicity. That is their intellectual property that's being used. But now with this wave of name, image, and likeness, people are going to have to start thinking about this in the context of state law, as well as in an endorsement sponsorship type of deal, whether they have received permission to use this person's name and image. Now, people could have been promoting their ability to stop other folks from using their name and image for commercial purposes if they knew that statutes like this existed, if the state that they lived in actually had a statute like this where you can promote and secure and protect your interests. Okay, and that way you would be able to go to these third parties who are actually using your identity for commercial purposes, for commercial gain, and say, look, I need you to come on and pay up, right? So this statute is technically at the bottom line of intellectual property type statute. And I say that because when we have, so your name and your image are things that are intellectual property, right? It is nothing that you technically created, but because of who you are, it is a form of intellectual property. And if you're putting that information into the commercial space to receive income from that for commercial purpose, then now we really do have a stronghold of intellectual property where it's generating dollars, and that person deserves the right to be paid. And that's why the statute says it is the individual's right of publicity, whether they want to be publicized for the purposes of a commercial purpose, right? Which then will turn into a commercial gain. So I hope this has been beneficial for you guys. I do want to share one story on how this is relevant. I'll give you an example. So quite a while back, another lawyer reached out to me and said, hey, I need to talk with someone who has some type of litigation experience because I don't know, we may have to take this to court. He's representing an artist. An artist sees a photo or of a little girl and paints this beautiful portrait. The artist is asked to provide that painting to a popular museum in Chicago, and she does so. Now, I believe the artist was paid for this painting. The artist didn't know the mother of the child, didn't know the child, but she gained some inspiration from that. And so she provided the picture to the museum. Like I said, I believe she got paid from the museum. The mother, sometime after, is at the museum and sees a portrait of her daughter. And now she's like, oh, no, y'all about to pay up. Y'all about to pay up. Because now what it does is it falls into the realm of the right of publicity. And you have to recognize who has the actual right of publicity. The right of publicity is in the lap of the individual whose image and name that is being used for commercial purpose. So that is a key point there. So let's say the artist donated the portrait to the museum without being paid. There may be an argument that says, I don't owe you anything because I haven't used this for commercial purposes, right? But let's say that the artist did get paid. And now we're looking at a commercial gain there. We're looking at payments that was for commercial purpose to the artist, and there was never an agreement from the mother to use the child as the subject. So, of course, this is just one aspect of me looking at this, looking at the statute. But if there's anything that you are curious and wondering about as it relates to someone's right of publicity, if you are using a picture of them, if you're using their name or a form of their name, you are going to want to, number one, look at this statute for the state that you reside in and see if there's a recognition of right of publicity. Number two, if this will cause some type of confusion in the marketplace around this person's name and their image, or some kind of brand that's already out there that's associated with this individual, you're going to want to get permission to do that. So definitely make sure that you have counsel on board, someone who can walk you through this process to make sure that you are protecting yourself all the way through. And also on the flip side, if someone is using your right of publicity, you want to make sure that you dive in there quickly to cease and desist that type of activity from happening, because if someone else is receiving money for a commercial purpose based on your particular identity and it's your individual right of publicity, you can seek damages for that. And some of the statutes actually do call for penalty damages. So I just wanted to share this with you guys because it got me in that mind frame of name, image, and likeness, and how those rules are possibly going to draw some conflict with already established state right of publicity statutes. But you do need to think about this in the context of your business as you're rolling out intellectual property, as you're trying to create and do other things. Because if you do want to use someone else's image on a product, let's say, then you may run into a right of publicity issue there. All right. So this is Savani DeBarros. If you want to work with me, make sure that you go to my website at www.sldebarros.com/contact to get started. If you are interested in sports and want some more resources on that end, check me out at prosportlawyer.com. And definitely make sure that you follow me on all of my podcast episodes. What are you sporting about? Everywhere that a podcast can be found. It was a pleasure to talk with you today. I hope you have an amazing rest of your week. Ciao.